Well, hello everyone and welcome in. My name is Rick Farron. I'm here in Boston and I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world. And it is going to be the big capital of the world coming up here in August. Well, we could have upwards of, 500 people, 300 to 500, could even go higher, but I'm capping it off at 500. I don't know what we'll do with the rest of the people, but I know at least got 300 and it can go up from there. So anyways, I'm glad you're with us tonight. We have been doing this for a number of years, and we're glad that you come in every Saturday night. And we are here because you are here. And there's so many people, let me drop my glasses here. There's so many people that are leaving the Watchtower right now, and they don't know what to do. And I'll tell you what's going on the weekend. Our numbers have been really going up here for the amount of people coming in. What the witnesses are doing, this is their convention season here in America. So what the witnesses are doing, many of them, the PMOs, those that are physically in, mentally out, well, they're going to the convention during the day, and then they go back to their hotel room, and they listen into the 6 screens. They want to get the other side of the story. So if you're a PMO in a hotel room somewhere, thank you for coming in tonight. And you might not have the courage to speak up here tonight, but if you do, we'd love to hear from you. And this is why I'm seeing numbers here all of a sudden in the summertime, since the convention started in late May, our numbers have been shooting up. How else can I really explain it? It's got to be people listening in that are leaving the Watchtower, and we estimate there could be as many as 4 million PMOs. I mean, I can't tell you that for sure. It's just a guesstimate. But I tell you what, I believe right now that almost half of the Jehovah's Witnesses that are going to the meetings, they're going in a perfunctory way. They're just going through the motions. Well, I got a special guest before we get into the news. And he did get a hold of me this week. And of course, we're talking about the convention. We got the Still Alive in 2025 convention of ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. That's coming up here in August 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And we're looking forward to that. And then, lo and behold, Platt Jonas, we'll say Jonas from Norway, he says, Rick, I'm trying to do something over here in Europe. So he says, well, Jonas, you got to come on here. You got to tell us about it. So let's bring Jonas on right now. I'll let you all know him. I mean, he doesn't have his hat on. He's not holding any goats, but this is Jonas. Say hello, Jonas. Add you to the stage. There he is. Hello, Jonas.
Hello. So nice to be here.
Well, good to have you with us now. I know Norway. How many hours ahead is that?
6 hours ahead. You're still living in the past.
We're in the past. You're a hot duck, Jonas. You're a real comedian. But anyways, well, it caught wind. You got caught wind here of the convention that we're going to have. And so you want to do something. I see you're a protester, and anybody that protests against the Watchtower is a real friend of mine because I love I love protesting. Oh yeah.
I think you and me are the one that have most protest under our belt personally. Like I have 10. I don't think so many other people will, more than you will, take that record.
Yeah, no, you and me have.
I'm tired now, but I think it's like 10 or soon to be 10.
Well, I have to tell you, I beat you out, Jonas.
You do that.
We're up to 18 right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
18. But but I'll tell you what, a good friend. And anyone that came out once, we have such a hard time getting people to come protest. It's like cutting teeth. They're all going to come, and then they all chicken out at the last minute, and their mother's cat died, so they had to go over and come. I mean, all these excuses I would get. And I would, I'd call the newspaper ahead of time. Hey, we're going to have 50 people. And, I get down there and like, 10 people show up. You get that too?
Yeah, people freak out the last minute. That's kind of normal because there might be need for therapy. It's a lot of things to bubble up, and you can get like, if a witness see you that know you, and then the whole family starts sending SMS, people might freak out. And some witnesses can be really nasty. Like I know a sister, like an apostate sister, she was standing there working with her signs or something, And then someone walked up behind her and whispered in her ear, like, "This is low, even for you, this is low." And she turned around, and it was her brother in the flesh that she hadn't spoken with for 25 years. So they can do these super passive aggressive stunts. And I remember when I was in Australia, in Melbourne, they sent out a guy. He was like 21 years old, and his job was to be standing in front of me, which is extremely passive aggressive, because not only is he standing in front of me, he's smiling and waving to the witnesses while he is systematically blocking someone else. So it's so extreme, cult-like, you could say. But the funny thing is, I got an email from him, and he woke up because I was so nice to him.
No, I remember. In fact, I was listening to one of your videos, and you mentioned that. And I've often thought when we went out and did protests, we went to their conventions, and I mostly to their memorial at the Kingdom Hall. And what I found is, as the years went on, I started doing it back in 2000. I think it was 2005 or somewhere around there. So I started doing it then, but man, they were really nasty then. But as the years went on, I'll tell you what, the last couple of protests I did, there were so many PMOs. They'd come by in the car, and they would slow down, and they'd give us the thumbs up. And especially, they'd be like mom and dad in the front seat, and the teenage kids in the back seat. They're all waving at us, and they don't know the mom and dad see them. But so I couldn't believe the amount of people have, in fact, taken pictures of the apostates. Why would you do that? And so I saw that the general crowd seems to be a lot more pleasant toward the apostates. And even that man, approaching you, because I seen some of those videos you did. The people over in Europe, they seemed a little more friendly to you guys,
But I am very friendly to the witnesses, and I know exactly how to talk to them, because it's like talking to your wife. If I say this, she'll be angry. So maybe I shouldn't say that. So if what I walk up to the witnesses, and then I say that, "Hello, I'm the apostate." And then I put it on thicker. I say, "I'm the main apostate. I'm the apostate that organized the event with apostates." And then I say, "I just want you to know that we're not here. We're not protesting against the witnesses. We're protesting for human rights. And you witnesses are humans. So we support your right to worship your God. We are here to protest against the governing bodies, violation of human rights, not against the witnesses." And then they relax, and then we just add some smiles and more smiles, and in the end we just, we're not friends, but there's always a situation where there's an old elderly lady that needs help, and we step in and help her, and then the witnesses come and we say, "Okay, you can take it from here." And we just get this, because we do have the same culture, and we are genuinely nice people. And the Jehovah Witnesses that volunteer for being, what do you call this? Ordensmann in Norwegian, guard, wardens, what do you call them? Starts with A in English.
Attendants,
yeah. Those that volunteer for being attendants are basically very service-minded, gentle souls that want everyone to be happy. So they're actually quite easy to work with if you're just nice and don't try to pull off something.
Well, I like something that you just said there that is good. And, I try to let the witnesses know that we're protesting really against the Watchtower organization, not necessarily, because we all know I had good Jehovah's Witness friends, and they were good people. I'm not trying to beat them up. But something you said that just caught my attention. You said that, you're protesting for human rights. I like that. I might steal that from you. I like that, because that's what we're really protesting against. The cruel treatment that the Watchtower gives their people. So you've been very effective with it. Geez, and I know you make nice professional banners up too. They look really good. And you've been very successful with it, Jonas. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because there's not a lot of people who do it, like I said. So that's good. So why don't you do this? Tell us about this. Now, I got a picture. Let me put it up, though, before we talk about it. I'm going to I got a picture for you. I'm going to put it up. Let's put it up right now. Don't say a thing. And this picture here, you can explain to people what this is all about. Now, just give us a second, and I'll get this picture up. I got a lot of pictures here. Let me just thumb through them. All right, there's the picture. All right, so there you are. Well, tell us about that.
That is Doomsday comedy stand-up. So imagine when we grew up in the cult. I remember when I was going to be baptized and they asked me, why do you want to be baptized? And I said, there is nothing else. And I felt so like a grown-up could say something so wise. But that's actually what I thought. I thought there is nothing else because we were brainwashed to believe that. And I was lucky in a way because I wanted to be Jehovah Witness. So because I thought it was the truth back then. So, but other kids that were forced into baptism and thought there were nothing on the outside, so they didn't like being a witness, but they thought there were nothing on the. They killed themselves, And the same when I lost my faith and I had to think about leaving, I thought I had to kill myself because I thought there were nothing on the outside. So now we're starting. I like the idea now how the apostates, we get more and more professional and more nice. So we're basically putting up a professional stand-up comedy outside the convention, and we will market it so that all the witnesses with Facebook will get an invitation, and we will hand out the invitation to the witnesses when they come, and they will see, oh, the apostates do stand up, and they will say, oh, this is actually a fulfillment of Jesus' word that people will be mocking and scoffers. We were thinking about calling the show Mockers and Scoffers. Or
that's fascinating. Now,
the point is, if I can just continue, imagine if now you were a young 12-year-old, at the convention, and your mother and father and everyone around you, there's this boss, oh, the apostates, they are having stand-up comedy. Oh, they're having stand-up comedy. Oh, and then they try to tell you that apostates are bitter and angry and they are miserable. You wouldn't buy it because, stand-up is weird. It might be offensive. It might be, but... because it's comedy, but you would not buy into the idea that there is no life on the outside. You can literally go out from. So when you're sitting for 8 hours listening to blah 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 and Melchizedek and Jehovah and the first generation of the fourth generation, and you could just know, I could just walk 1 kilometer off here and go to stand up instead. So. We're just showing them, instead of having a sign that says we are happy, because that's some of the best signs I've seen apostates have. It's just a big sign that says, I am happy, ask me why. And no one walk up to you and ask you why, because you seem kind of like a crazy person. So what if we will just be happy? We will just be happy.
Well, that's a good theme, to be happy, because the Watchtower, as Jonas, they say when you leave the Watchtower, you're going to return to the vomit. They say when you leave the Watchtower, you're going to be a drug dealer or a druggie or an alcoholic, a prostitute or whatever. That's what they say. You're going to be an agent of Satan. You're leaving Jehovah. So there's many Jehovah's Witnesses that feel that, oh, these apostates, they're agents of Satan, and we're having fun. And that's what that's one reason why they even don't like this program. Tonight we haven't had it, but many nights in the past we have the drunken Bethelites, we call them. These are Watchtower operatives, and they come and they try to disrupt our live show. And they try to come in, they say all kinds of bad swear words, very bad. And we have to get them off and kick them off. But these are operatives of the Watchtower. They don't like the apostates all getting together and meeting like we are here tonight. And they don't like the idea of you're going to be meeting in London and having a group of people. Now, let me ask you a question. So it's like you're a comic yourself, and you're very funny. I laugh when I see your videos. And what I wanted to say now, you got how many people you have going to be standing up and doing comics?
6 comedians and an MC, so it's 7. So I decided to invite many people because comedy is very much, you have a feed line and a punchline. That's the classic, feed line, punchline. But when you have ex-witnesses in the audience and worldly people mixed, which we want, then the worldly people will laugh at the feed line because it's so absurd, I say. Like I try to have a joke now, because all the jokes are tested before you take it in front of an audience. You have small stages, and you try and you try different things. And I had a jokes about Smurfs. So I said, Jehovah Witnesses believe that Smurfs are demons that were thrown down from heaven in 1914 to infiltrate Jehovah Witnesses. That was, the feed line. But they laugh at the feed line because it's so absurd. So you kind of fall out of rhythm. So what I thought about this show, and based on my experience of what people come to the protest, because there's a lot of people you get contact when you do a protest, like messages all the time, and it's very much ex-Jehovah Witnesses just need some kind of community. Or people on the inside, very much people that are spouses that are never been Jehovah Witnesses. They just marry someone and get a baby and then a divorce. And then they have this baby connection to a group of crazy people. And they also meet people and talk about it. So, and ex-JW comedians sometimes get ex-JW audience that want to sit there and get some kind of connection through the comedian, and he's not prepared. He always. So I thought, what if we just have a show where everyone can tell their story? Everyone. It will be like an AA meeting. So I will not joke about Jehovah Witnesses. I will joke about goats and things, and some Jehovah Witness joke. Well, obviously much more than normal, but basically just show that we rebuilt our life. But being like I always say, imagine if you would try to become a goat, an actual goat, and we would do some DNA on you. We would change the DNA, we would change the chromosomes, we would change everything, and eventually you would actually be a goat. But the thing is, even if we would do that scientific miracle on you, you would still not be a real goat, because you would be a goat that used to be Rick. Understand? You will never get away from it. Well, so when you accept that, I'm now a worldly person, but I am a worldly person that used to be something else, and I rather celebrate that. But I will not live in that universe. So we just do a show. We can sit down. We can laugh about what happened. We can see the worldly people laugh at how crazy we were, and we think, like, yeah, I did the right thing leaving. And a lot of people, they bring. Actually, there's been a lot of worldly, like I remember in Australia, came a worldly woman, with stars in her eyes, and said, my husband grew up as a Jehovah Witness. Come here, Bob. Come, talk to them. Like she knew that there was something wrong with the man she loved, and he needed to talk to someone. So she actually dragged him to a convention to meet the posting. And the poor guy was looking at his feet, and, he would rather be somewhere else, but she wanted to go there. So there's a lot of people like that, like diaspora around Jehovah Witnesses. They didn't only screw up us that grew up there, but they screw up.
Well, that's right. I mean,
we have classmates that would need therapy due to what I did to them.
Well, no, I agree. I agree with you 100%, Jonas. There's a lot of people that never were Jehovah's Witness. Take my father, for example. He wasn't one of Jehovah's Witnesses. My mother was a loyal witness, but he had to live with her, and they had a good marriage. But, it was always, well, you better, smarten up, or you're going to die at Armageddon. I heard that all the time growing up. But, I'll tell you what, you're talking about stand-up comedy. You're talking about having comedians there. There's going to be some ex-witness jokes. I got an ex-witness joke for you.
You have?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Maybe you want to use it. You can use it. It's not copyrighted. You can use it. Yeah. So anyways, what do you call a helicopter that's flying over a kingdom hall? It's more of a riddle.
No,
it's more of a riddle than a joke, I guess. What do you call a helicopter flying over Kingdom Hall? One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Okay, that's linguistic, because I think it's a reference to literature.
Yeah, what it is it's a movie. It's a movie that was here in America.
Okay.
It basically. That's okay. Maybe you don't want to use that because you're going international. People
No, no,
American.
no. But it actually illustrates the point. It's a perfectly good joke, but for me, the reference is kind of vague because of my age, probably, and also because of my nationality. So that's the interesting when you put up a show that is, we call it Doomsday Comedy, doomsdaycomedy.com. So we're going to have the two first show outside London. And if you can't go and you want to support my work, you can buy a ticket and just not come there because it's a paid venue we have,
Oh yeah, no,
But-
it's gonna cost you to do it. How much is the ticket? Just curious.
No, it's £25. We put it's not expensive in any way, but there's a price range where we don't want it to be cheap because we don't want frustrated pioneers to go there to get their hours in.
You're a funny guy to begin with, really. I laugh at you a lot when I see you on YouTube. But can you give us an idea of? Do you have any jokes that you might want to share with us tonight? You have
No,
any?
well,
Yeah.
you can't afford them. No, no, but it is interesting. I can tell you one joke I do on stage, and it illustrates how worldly people and witnesses react differently. I say there's some techniques. Okay, there's two jokes now. The first one goes like this: there's some technique I use as a comedian. It's not only bad things about growing up as a Jehovah Witness. There's some technique I can use as a comedian. For instance, I'm very good at knock-knock jokes. It's a super easy joke, and I get real good response on that. Then the other one is, obviously I have a shitload of more jokes than these two, but the other one goes like this. There's another technique I use as a comedian is that if someone don't like my jokes, I find out where they live. And that was meant to be a feed line, but all the worldly people laugh at that. What was supposed to be the punchline was that I would go home to them, I would knock at their door and say, have you been thinking, okay, this is the problem with English. I have to prepare for English. I was unprepared now. I never done this joke in English. So how will the punchline go then? It will be, this is stepping on the punchline. It would be, if they don't like my joke, I'll find out where they live. I'll knock at their door and I will ask, have you been thinking about the joke we spoke about last week?
All right. No, just kind of.
But you understand?
Yeah, human.
I lost the punch now because I took it on English.
I understand. No, that's the
point.
Yeah.
The point is, the worldly people were laughing at what I thought was the feed line. So eventually, I just dropped the punchline that Jehovah Witnesses find amusing. Have you been thinking about the joke we spoke about last week? That's absolutely worst way of telling a joke. Do return visits.
I mean, if I was in London, I'd come there with you. I would gladly do that. But we have a lot of people from the UK. We have a lot on the line right now, in fact, that are listening.
I hope they show up because it will be. I had to pay the deposit for the place. So if you don't come and drink, I would have to pay for the drinks you don't drink. So please come and drink. But the way we put it up, it's like everyone tell their stories. So I can do my normal jokes about goats and Norwegian politics. Nah, I don't do that. But goats and trees and birds and window cleaning and Jehovah Witness material in a beautiful mix. But basically we get like an AA meeting, One of them talk about, I want to be a CEO. Someone else talk about, I want to be a alligator wrestler. When we leave, we go our own separate ways, but we can still meet and talk about it. And then when the worldly people laugh at the absurdity, we kind of feel, I did the right thing moving away from that crap. Well, so it's kind of like a Kinder egg, everyone gets something.
Well, that's what we like to hear. We all have the benefit.
But it is a normal show with professional comedians. I see myself as a professional comedian and can't make a living from it, but that's a different story.
Well, I think that you're very original. I would never think of doing a comedy show at the Jehovah's Witness convention. I would never think about that. But listen, do you mind if we open up the lines? Would you talk?
Please do.
Yeah, let's open up the lines. Let's get some people to come in. We got Platt Jonas. So now tell me, because I mean, I don't know about Norway, but your name is Jonas, but do you use your last name first? What's that all about?
No, I'm a sheet plot means the same root word in English as plate, because I'm a sheet metal worker.
Oh,
So that's not a name. It basically means sheet metal. Like if you would say Bob the Builder, I would be sheet metal Jonas.
I got you. Okay, because I was
So it's not a name. And the thing is, I tried to change it later, but when I was a Jehovah Witness, I was called Gustafsson, and I'm from a huge Jehovah Witness. I'm one of these that I belong to a clan,
Oh,
like
yeah.
generations and cousins, every direction,
Well,
So-
I'll tell you what. I tell you, we got a lot of people want to call in. Let's go to. First of all, let's go to 540. First of all, go ahead, 540. You're on with us.
Hey, just wanted to say I really like your videos, and in comedy, just shorten it to Jonas. And I have written some material for you because in English, GOAT stands for greatest of all time.
Yeah, it does.
So you can use that.
Yeah,
Nice having us here. Keep doing what you're doing.
yeah, and you can go to doomsdaycomedy.com and you can leave your state and email. So when we put up a show in your state, you will get a newsletter. You will not get any newsletter otherwise.
All right,
So
thank
because
you.
I got lots of stage magician pals, so maybe I'll bring some of them. Wonderful.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. I just want to. We call our group, activist group, now Happy Hyenas, because we can chase the Jehovah Witnesses from like lions chases zebras, So
yeah.
we can, because there will always be conventions moving around. And if Jehovah Witnesses have 50,000 people there, and I contact the venue and say, I do Jehovah Witness humor, they will say, okay, you can use ours. Because they see there's money. That's always been Watchtower's argument. Oh, this is so good for the economy. So we're just following them around, because if there's 50,000 on a convention, at least there's 5,000 PMOs.
At least
walk
probably
out from
will.
this boring convention into a soft landing, because we know the alternative often is, depression and suicide when they leave.
Oh, yeah.
So having the opportunity, just knowing that there's happiness, is providing them a gentle landing.
Well, I get the feel of what you're doing here. You're trying to create this theme with these comics that you're we're happy. We're happy. We have fun. So you're doing good. We got a caller here we want to bring on here. Let's bring on 225. 225, you're on with us.
Hey, Jonas, this is James in Baton Rouge, and man, I have watched you through the years. You are absolutely hilarious. I love your YouTubes. And man, let me tell you, you have a creative streak here that just sparked my interest. And I'm thinking about the next time that Rick does a protest, is everybody get dressed up in Renaissance Festival attire, and then have the picture of a real happy goat. Jehovah's happy goats. I mean, can you imagine that 12 and 13-year-olds that's driving by? I want to be a Jehovah's happy goat.
Yeah.
You've really come up with an idea. That is absolutely fantastic. I love it.
I was thinking about having a live goat, but animals should not be treated as props. I'm also animal friend. So, but if I would bring an animal to a local convention here in Norway, so the kid I want to pet the goat, but you would also start a conflict between a mother and a child, and then they have a negative energy going on the rest of the day, So that's why I decided not to do it. I just want everyone to be happy.
Yeah, I have a beautiful picture of a real happy goat, kind of like the big pictures that they have of these unicorns. Just have the different colors, and the goat is so happy, and I can see a number of happy goats, and it's like Jehovah's happy goats, man. Let's be one.
Yeah, basically that's my point. And I remember, like, if we would like tempt children with toys before they go into convention just to make the children miserable for 4 hours, that's not anything I will do. But sometimes when the kids, I remember, I speak Spanish, so I remember outside the convention in London, and they walked out, and the fathers said to the kid, "No se pueden jugar." And I just said theatrical, "Se puede jugar." You are allowed to play. Because kids should be kids, and I remember in Sweden, some kids ran up to us.
You've got a brilliant mind. You have a brilliant idea right there. And if I can get to London, I'm coming to your show.
Yeah, but like I said, Doomsday comedy, because all I need, because this is all, also I have a little baby to support, so if I can follow conventions around and putting up show and people buy tickets, it will be a livelihood. I will probably not be rich because it's a very niche product, but if I can show to people that there's a lot of traction on this, I actually do sell tickets. I have people left their emails in all these states in the US and in Canada. I can also sell a product because, like I said, I do have a baby to feed. And I think all the comedians are parents except one. And he has a funny story to tell, because he grew up in the Romanian Jehovah Witness cult. Because there's a lot of cult Jehovah Witness religions in Eastern Europe that are not, they're Jehovah Witnesses, refer to themselves as Jehovah Witnesses, but they do not accept the governing body after the new light about the superior authority. So they thought that when the governing body changed that, the authority, what in English, the authority in Romans, they thought the governing body was compromised because they lived in communists, so they were, paranoid. So they are still split from us, so to speak. And he's from that group. So he's a Jehovah Witness group with only 3,000 members. And they referred to us, their nickname for us were not worldly, but colored. So Rick, you're colored, according to them. Because
I'll tell you what. No, in fact, I know a little bit about the Romanian Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah. A lot of people left there. The Romanian Jehovah's Witnesses, a few years back, there was a big dropout. A lot of them went off and formed their own little group. Did you know that?
Yeah. But no, I didn't know that. But he's in the group that's been for a long time, and he left from that one, and he's now one of the comedians, and he's super funny.
Wow.
But he speaks perfect English, way better than me. You can't hear that he's an immigrant. But they call us colored because our magazines have colors. While they stopped at the point with the magazines that were up to 1970 or something, or 60. So so they only have all 260.
That's really, it's funny you say that. That's funny because if you say colored here,
I know.
If you say it's like a term, it's just, sometimes they don't want to use that term anymore. But it would be that term could be actually offensive to people in English in America.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Well, anyways, no, this is good. So how can people get a hold of you? How can they, if they want to come, if they're listening in from the UK? Do we have anyone listening in today? Let me take a check here. Anyone listening in here from the UK? We've got a bunch of people on. If you are, come on. Say hello to our good friend Jonas. We got him on with us. Anyone from the UK? I'm going through the list here. I don't see any tonight. Usually we have 3 or 4. If you're listening in from the UK, go ahead and say hello to Jonas. We do have someone listening in right now from London, as a matter of fact. Maybe we can get him to come to the. Maybe we can get him to come to the show you got.
Yeah, I see.
So you want to speak up? So sometimes people are shy. A lot of them just getting out there. They want to speak up. But if you want to speak up and say hello to Jonas, hit *6 on your telephone pad. That'll bring you in. Anyone want to speak up? All right. We got a number of people on a telephone line, but Hopefully it's working. I hope it is, because I see people do want to speak. Just give us a second here. Jonas from Norway is on with us. You see him on YouTube. You like to come on, say hello, Jonas. Be my guest. All right. I do see a lot of people unmuted. If you'd like to say hello, go ahead and do it. So it's a 603.
Hey.
Go ahead. Is this Maverick?
Yep, it's Maverick. I am in London, yes.
Oh,
Hi, Jonas. Whereabouts?
hey, I hope to see you at the show. Your friends.
Yeah, where are your shows going to be? Where are your shows going to be?
It will be a Collab Tower in Southwark. So it's not obviously not exactly outside the convention, but and it's a bar. There's food and there's alcohol. Please drink alcohol because, like I said, I'm putting a deposit. So if no one drinks anything, I'll pay for the drinks anyway. So no, it will be
Lakeside Thurrock.
What?
Is it Lakeside? Lakeside Thurrock.
Can you repeat that?
Lakeside. Lakeside. Is it Lakeside Thurrock?
No, Southwark.
I'm just trying to. Southwark.
Southwark.
Okay, Southwark. Right, I got you. I know where you are.
Yeah, you know the Shard?
Yeah. Cool.
It's next to the Shard. If you go, you know.
Yes,
if you're like me and you look for stars and with a compass when you're in the city, and then it's easy to look for Shard.
Yeah.
So, but you go to www.doomsdaycomedy.com, one word, doomsdaycomedy.com, and then obviously the address is there. But the thing is, if you grew up in the so-called truth, that means your girlfriend always wondered, why is this man crazy? You know? So bring her and bring your coworkers. They also wondered why you're crazy. It's kind of a get to know me, know why I'm crazy.
Yes. Well, I'm quite humorous. So I don't mean to be like deliberately trying to be funny, but I find humor is my way of surviving. We survive the cult in many ways, and I find humor is one of the best ways to kind of just cope through anything in life. And otherwise, if you're not laughing, you're crying. So it's a really good therapy. As we know, laughter is the best medicine. So it's a great thing you're doing. And if you can make people who've never, if you can make a person who's never known Jehovah's Witnesses or the culture, if you can make them laugh, then you're onto something, because you know there's a universality in people in these concepts. So I think I'll be interested to find out what you do, because I've not actually I haven't heard any of your material. It's the first time I'm actually hearing about you and what you do and so on. So I'm kind of curious now. So I'll try and make it. I'll look you up.
Yeah, please do that, because we actually put a lot of work. Stand-up is absolutely fascinating. It's an art form. So imagine if you do a 5-minute talk in a Kingdom Hall, then you never do it again. But if you're a stand-up comedian and you write a joke about a 5-minute set about having your own podcast, Rick, you know? So you go up and say, hello, I'm Rick, I have my own podcast. And then you maybe get 5 jokes laughed the first time. Then you rewrite it, you get 15 the next time. And in the end, my kind of personal best I'm trying to be is like 7 jokes laughter a minute. So every minute you talk, you get 7 laughter. So you polish and work with the material a long time before you say, like, I have 15 minutes of performance, and then it's really good. But it takes hundreds of hours to work that. So imagine if you have a speech in a Kingdom Hall, you know, the 5-minute when you're a boy, you know, and you don't do it once, but you do the same 5 minutes 100 times and change it every time until it's perfect. That's what you do. It's super fascinating. So if you're, like you said, if you're funny, spontaneous, and you actually learn the craft and you just practice those jokes, you can be super funny. It's a skill that you can practice. It's absolutely fascinating. And the reason why I started with this was because of my activism. You know, we managed to change some things here in Norway. And that is, we have now a legislation that says that all religions must respect human rights. And you see, I almost start crying when I say this, because it's a great victory for all religions. So you can have an organization like the Ku Klux Klan. You can start it here, but you will not get government funding. You could not register it as a religion. So Watchtower is still legal here. They still exist. They do everything, but they don't get government funding, and they are not recognized as a religion. And the legal status. So, and that is because they don't respect human rights. So first time I was at the protest, everyone said, you cannot get apostates to agree about one message and one visual profile and one message to the press. Everyone will be running their own thing, but I actually managed to do that. And we have been pressured for change legislation, and I'll take credit for that because you will never fact check it, but I lie. I'm not the only one doing things, but it works. And I thought, what could be more difficult to organize than apostates? Well, that's comedians, because they're artists, and all of them have most stand-up comedians have autism, ADHD, Tourette syndrome, or bipolar. I am not bipolar, but the other three I do have. So it's a crazy crowd, but
well, again, I give you credit, Jonas, for doing it. And thank you, Maverick, too, for checking in with Jonas. And maybe if you could do it, he'd love to see you there at the stand-up comedian show. Well, thank you very much, Jonas, for coming in. So how are they going to get a hold of you? If they want to, you got an email. When you tell the people your email, how can they get a hold of you?
First, Penny right here. So Norway won, amazing. No, it's not. I think the government, the kingdom, will win in the Supreme Court, but it's still in the Supreme Court. So if they want to get hold of the show, it's either doomsdaycomedy.com. Super easy. And buy a ticket if you want to go, and bring everyone ever met you, because they probably wonder what's wrong with you. And now afterwards they will know, and they might pat your shoulder and say, sorry, we didn't know. I think you handle it well. So it's a way.
We got one more caller wants to come on and say hello to you. Let's go with looks like 717. Say hello to Jonas.
Well, hi, Jonas. I know that you're North Norway, but me, I have to tell you where I'm from and live. I'm American.
Yeah.
And just had to meet somebody who's from over the pond, right, as they say. I've ever since waking up, I know it's been something has, for any of us that's woke up, it's been something that's been lifted from us.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Dallas. Thank you very much for checking in. Dallas listens in just every week, in fact, Jonas. And he's a good guy. He's a Jehovah's Witness, and he enjoys the program.
I'm amused with your accent, and also Rick, like the people from they don't say Boston, they say Boston. Can you do it, please?
Well, yeah, Boston. But, I can talk like Kennedy, President Kennedy. Remember him? Well, I can kind of talk like him too. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your comedian. For comedians, yes. Well, Jonas, thank you. Thank you very much for coming on.
Anybody else waiting for you? I won't take too much your time right there.
Well, thank you, Dallas. Always good to hear from you. Keep cranking away at it. And don't you ever go back in the witness world. Stay out of that world.
Yeah.
I hope so, and I pray. I got to keep praying so that I have Christianity and the real Christ in my life.
Well, good for you, Dallas. Good for you. You're a good man. Don't you ever change. Just keep staying Dallas. We love you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and great meeting you, Jonas, right there. And
excellent. Well, thank you, Dallas. All right. Well, Jonas, I'll tell you. Well, what's your last word for the government?
Take care.
Thank you. What's your last word, Jonas, to the audience here?
Well, now I have a fan in Canada, and in Dallas, Texas. So maybe there will be a show in Texas too, if enough people go to doomsdaycomedy.com and leave their email, because then I can show that to professional people. They put faith in the project, and we can move along. So I hope you support this project, or at least you come and see me make a fool out of myself in London.
Well, maybe we can even bring it up a little bit at the convention. Let people know that, listen, these meetup, conventions, comedy shows, the apostates are getting into everything these days. So we'll give you a little plug at the convention too coming up. Thank you. All right, we'll do that for you.
Okay.
You're a good man. We have to help you, Jonas. My goodness gracious, you got a baby to feed.
Yeah.
Gotta help you.
Cutest baby in the world.
Well, thank you.
She looks exactly like me.
Does she really? What's her name?
Her name is Fiona Clotilda Malina Jonasdotter Skogstroll.
Holy mackerel! 5 names, yeah. Now, how old is
3 names, and then 1 patronym, daughter of Jonasdotter.
Wow!
And my last name is actually Troll. I changed my name to Skogstroll. It means woodland troll, because, like I said, my family was called Gustafsson, and they don't want anything to do with me. And you need to move on with your life, And symbolism is important for people. So I thought, I come from a very big Jehovah Witness clan, super. Everyone in Sweden know who we are.
I
wanted to move on, so I changed name to Troll.
Well, I went to school with some trolls. So is that a Norwegian name?
No, normally not in Norway, but a lot of Europeans that moved to America, and then they decided to celebrate their Norwegianness or their Frenchness. They created names that sound very Norwegian-like to them. Like, there's literally no one called Viking in Scandinavia as a last name, but in America, a lot of people is called Viking. So it's about a lot of, like, Americans try to celebrate their what do you call heritage, but they do it from an American perspective that sounds weird to us. So it's a very, very non-common name in Norway to be called Troll. Actually, I think I'm the only one in Scandinavia. But then I realized there's a shitload of them in America.
There is, yeah. Well, Jonas, you're a funny guy. We're brothers, both fighting against the Watchtower.
We'll always be.
Well, thank you. You're a good man, and don't you ever change either. And we'll be watching you on YouTube.
Change.
Well, thank you for coming on tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me come.
You get to bed. It's late over there in Norway, so you get to bed, get some sleep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Well, there you go. That's Jonas. You've seen him, my folks. He's good. He's on YouTube. You see him all the time. Well, anyway, you're watching JW World News. That's the news the Watchtower doesn't want us talking about, but we talk about it every Saturday night and every other Sunday. And we'll be doing it tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please come in and join us. Well, let's take a look here. Let's see what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Let me just get my computer up here a little bit. And, well, let's see. We're going to get rid of that one. Just give me a second here to get to the right page. And, okay, so anyways, we wanted to bring Jonas on a little early. Usually we get right into the news, but we brought Jonas on because it's like 6 hours ahead of time. So, well, right now it's about 3:30 in the morning over in Norway. So we thank Jonas for coming on. Excuse me one second. We got to get to some news here in a minute or two. But I wanted to talk about the convention. I don't want to beat you guys to death about this, but it is going to be something else. We have a convention, I'm sure you heard. We call it the Still Alive in 2025 Convention of Ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. Friends, this is going to be a history-making moment. We are going to have that August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And it's going to be a 3-day convention. Now, you don't have to come to all 3 days. But, boy, if you could come and be with us, you will really feel very good. When you can be in an arena with people of like mind, people have the same stories to tell as you can tell. It is a wonderful thing, and that's how you're going to feel. In fact, you're going to be hitting your head, as we say, on the doorpost on the way out, because it's really going to be quite the convention. Now, I'm not saying that and trying to, promote this thing as the greatest thing on earth. But I mean, for people who have left the Watchtower, it could be. This could be the biggest event you have ever witnessed in your life. And we have got so many people coming. And I've been working on this now for a year and a half. We right now have just about 300 people. It's kind of steadying off right about there. But, sometimes you get a real push near the start of the convention. So we could get upwards of 500 people. We have room for almost room for 500. But we have, in the main auditorium, we have 350 seats. Now, there's a room adjacent to that, and there's another 200 seats if we need it. But we'll see what happens, because in that same room, we have to have tables for some of the vendors that are coming. They're selling T-shirts. They got books about the witnesses. There's a lawyer that's going to be there answering your questions about what we can do after we left the Watchtower. So there's a lot of things. And some of the guests that are coming, just to give you a little idea, we get Barbara Anderson. We all know her. She is a former Jehovah's Witness, was working in the writing department at the Watchtower. She'll be with us live in person. We've also got Fritz Springmeier. Well, he's the author of the book, The Bloodlines of the Illuminati, and he'll be there as well. We got Gary Cox. He was on our program last week. We got a motivational speaker named Wally Weldon. You could go with just Wally. It's Wally Weldon. He's going to be coming to the convention as well. No, I'm sorry, he's not coming in person. He's going to come on via the internet. But we're going to have a lot of people that are going to be telling their stories. Our schedule is filling up. We've got a few more spots left. If you think you'd like to come and have a talk, or you want to get tickets to the convention, write me, jwworldnews@gmail.com. The tickets are free. You don't have to pay for the tickets. They're free. But we want you to come. Come and be with us. You're not going to be unhappy. You'll be happy you came. We have so many people that have been writing me. They feel like they're going to Disneyland. You know how it felt when you were a kid and your mom and dad said, hey, we're going to go to Disney World, or we're going to go to a theme park. We're going to go to the carnival. Remember how excited you were? Well, that's how people are. They're calling me up and they're saying, Rick, I can hardly wait. I'm just packing my bags. I'm getting ready to come. So looking forward to it. So I wanted to bring that up, but I also wanted to show you something. Now, a lot of people have said, well, Rick, I heard there's going to be a motion picture being filmed there. That's correct. There's going to be a motion picture. And then what they're going to do, it's going to start right at the convention. It's going to be in Spanish, and it's going to also be in English. And there's a 12-man movie crew coming from Spain that is going to film the convention. It's going to film ex-witnesses and how they're handling their life since they've left the Watchtower. So if you have an idea, or even a thought, you want to talk to these people, there's going to be plenty of room to do that. And you could be in a motion picture all about the world of the Jehovah's Witnesses and people that have left. Now, some of the people, my throat here is just a little hoarse here tonight because of the pollen, I think. Just bear with me and I just clear my throat. So, anyways, we have masks. I'll put one on. Now, these are masks that if you don't want to be seen, you can wear a mask like this, for example. But this might be a lady's mask, right? So you can wear a mask like that. But we got full head mask as well. So if you want a mask a little bigger, we'll have masks if you don't want to be in the movie. And for those coming, when they're going to film the movie, we'll let you know 2 minutes ahead of time. We're going to have a bright neon sign that starts flashing, and it comes on. And it tells you that tells you 2 minutes from now the movie's going to be filmed, so we have a chance to get up and leave. So you're not going to get caught here. We're taking all the precautions for you, so we don't want you to get caught on tape or video. And so we'll work with you. Don't worry. We'll make sure that no one's going to recognize you. So also, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. I want you to speak up. I know a lot of you folks go on Reddit, and for some reason, Reddit doesn't like me. I have to tell you that. I don't know why. They just don't like me. They don't like my post I put up there. They won't let me post at times, and I've never been in their face. But if you could do it for me, if I try to take some ads out on Reddit, I call the company, the head company of Reddit, the forum online for ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. And I talked to an agent there, and he says, no, you can't come on and have an ad like that. He says they just won't allow it. And I'm thinking, who is also one of the owners of Reddit? Well, that is Serena Williams' husband. And he is one of the owners. So I don't know if, they're blocking someone on to have an ad about it, or it could just be the general policy. But I'm trying to get ads up on Facebook, trying to get ads up on YouTube. I'm really trying to promote this. I get signs. I get all kinds of banners. I've been promoting it online as well. And if all goes well, we're going to have the time of our life up here in Boston. So try to post it on Reddit. That would really help me. A lot of people say, how can I help you, Rick? I can't help you financially. I'm not looking for money, folks. I never ask you for any money. But I'm telling you right now, if you really want to help me, post it. Put it on your Facebook page. Put it on your Instagram page. And if you want a little narrative about it, write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com, and I'll send you a narrative, and post it up on your Facebook page. Post it up on YouTube. Post it up on in Reddit, in JWN. That would really help me if you could do it. Okay, so that's enough about the convention. And we're looking forward to you coming. It's at the Hilton Hotel. Tickets are free. Try to make it up. Okay, let's take another look at what's going on. This was a big week for news. You're probably saying, well, Rick, what's the big elephant in the room this week? Well, the big elephant in the room this week, it had to do what happened in London. Let me just get it up here for us. Just give me a second. Let me get the draft up here. What happened in the House of Parliament in England, and I think it would be in London. I don't know where the House of Parliament is, but I'm saying London, so it probably is there. But you guys saw it, I'm sure. The British Parliament, that's like Congress, that's like our Congress here in America. They are calling the Jehovah's Witnesses a cult. Friends, that hit me. It was wonderful. It was the best news I heard all week. So they're calling the House of Parliament, at least not everybody's in agreement with it, but there are members of Parliament in England that are now coming against the Jehovah's Witnesses. This is a turning point. The cult now is at a turning point. Many, many countries around the world are coming down on the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, you just heard Jonas. He lives in Norway. Well, that was one of the countries that really started this whole thing. Norway is ticked off at the Jehovah's Witnesses, and rightfully so. Why wouldn't they be? They shun. They cause all kinds of problems with people dying. They cause problems with molesting children. These governments know it. Norway knows it. Belgium knows it. Japan knows it. France knows it. Slovakia knows it. Russia knows it. I mean, we got 12 countries that I know of that know how dangerous the Jehovah's Witness cult is. And now Tuesday, just a few days ago, June 17th, Jehovah's Witnesses, they were brought up. I'm going to play a video. I'm not just, thinking this. This actually happened. I'm going to play a video. You'll hear, if you're on our radio network, you'll hear part of it. Now, how this all came about is, to give you an idea, the man that brought this up in Parliament, well, his name is Sam Carling. And he is, they call them MPs. That is, you're a member of Parliament. So they refer to Sam Carling here as an MP. and he actually stood up on the UK, actually the UK Parliament, and called out Jehovah's Witnesses for their atrocities in handling of CSA, child sex abuse. In doing so, he changed everything. They're now it looks like they're going to bring some bills up. They haven't been passed as of yet, but you'll hear what he brought up. And he's the youngest MP Parliament member there is in the UK. And so how wonderful it is that he had the guts to stand up. Now, let me get in here because I want you to see this. I want you to see this. So let me go over here, and I just got to get it up. I'm going to bring this on so you can see the video piece that I have. So just give me a second here to bring this on. It takes a second or two to get it up. So let's bring this on. And then you're going to see this Sam Carling speak. So I think we're just about ready to go with that. So why don't we listen to Sam? He's a former Jehovah's Witness, a very young guy. I think he's still in his early 20s. But let me get this on big screen here so you can see it. And let's play it. Let's play it right now so you'll see it. Let's play it. Let's make it big. Get the sound working on here. Let's get the sound. Just me 1 second here. Just got to get the sound working. Okay. Here we go now.
Sam Carling.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. And may I begin by again welcoming this bill. It will deliver so much for my constituents in relation to protecting people from crime and enabling tough action on antisocial behaviour, including areas which have for too long been labelled low level and ignored, like the illegal and off-road bikes, which my constituents so often raise with me. And it will introduce mandatory reporting for child sexual abuse, one of the key recommendations from the independent inquiry into child sexual abuse, which I'll abbreviate as ICSA for the remainder of this speech. That is a long overdue measure and one long called for by our Labour Home Secretary and the Prime Minister personally. However, I remain concerned that the government is not going far enough on the issue of mandatory reporting, and that is why I have laid 3 amendments to the bill on that subject, numbered 10, 11 and 22, which my speech today will focus on. These are not intended to change government policy, quite the opposite. These amendments are intended to deliver the government's stated policy.
Your input is invalid.
Recommendations relevant to the Home Office in full. The Home Secretary stated in January that this was the government's intention. And she reaffirmed that just yesterday, actually, in response to my question on her statement, with a firm yes, after I asked if it remained her policy to implement them in full. But there are 3 significant gaps in our plans to implement Recommendation 13 on mandatory reporting, where the bill is not delivering what ICSA recommended. With these gaps, I am concerned that the duty to report will be ineffective in some of the settings where it is most needed, religious groups in particular. And I will use the example of the Jehovah's Witnesses, the religious group which I grew up in, to illustrate how and why. They have a deep cultural distrust of secular authorities. And that leads to a culture of dealing with everything internally, as happens in a lot of different religious groups, including child sexual abuse, and reporting nothing to the police. Furthermore, their internal processes for doing so are atrocious. For example, there's something called the 2-witness rule, which means they take no action on any report of wrongdoing unless there are 2 witnesses to it. There are never 2 witnesses to child sexual abuse. I give this context to highlight why the mandatory duty to report must be absolutely watertight, as ICSA recommended, to prevent people in leadership organisations or in leadership of organisations like this from avoiding it. So I'll come to the 3 gaps in turn. Firstly, there are no criminal sanctions if you don't comply with the duty. I understand that the government is proposing professional sanctions, i.e. a referral to the Disclosure and Barring Service and to relevant professional regulators, but that's not actually on the face of the bill, and it would only apply.
Well, we'll stop it right there for a second, and I just want to share a couple of thoughts here. So here we have this man, Sam Carling, 23 years old. 23 years old. He's a member of Parliament in the UK, and here he is having the guts. He was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and now here he is. He has the chance to speak up and let the UK know Jehovah's Witnesses are a dangerous organization. Now, further downstream, let me see, maybe we'll play a little bit of that. Further downstream, they bring up shunning. So he's bringing up here the idea of child sex abuse, not the idea, but it's a fact that's going on in the organization. And then downstream, let me just see where that is, and I'll fast forward it to where it would be. So let's go down to 947. Let me get back in and let me bring this to 947 because I want you to hear what they say about this. Give me 1 second. I'm going to fast forward this to 947, and they talk about the shunning. So, boy, they're getting an earful. The Parliament over there in the UK is getting a real earful. So now they're going to bring up shunning. I want you to hear this. Just listen in here for a second. Let's listen in.
By being disfellowship, all communication with their own family.
Well, let me move it back a little bit here.
The government to give serious consideration to, and I may give some more detail on that later if there's time. I will give way.
Cameron Thomas.
I thank the honourable member for giving way. He's making very important points about, particularly about the Jehovah's Witness cult. And one of the methods that they use to ensure that issues like this don't escape from the organisation itself is the act of disfellowship, where an individual is threatened by being disfellowship all communication with their own family. And I wonder if he'll go a little further into recognising that too. Thank you.
Sam Carling.
I absolutely will, and I very much thank the honourable member for that intervention. I'm very pleased that other honourable members in the House are aware of that issue. It's something I am trying to do some work on separately. I think it is certainly relevant to what I'm discussing here. Just to give the House a little more context on that, what that essentially means is if that organisation decides that someone has committed a serious sin, it can essentially tell all of their family and friends to cut them off permanently. The same applies if they just choose to leave the religion. But very rarely is that applied to perpetrators of crimes, and more often to victims that report them. And it is an enormous problem that has to be dealt with, and I look forward to engaging with the honourable member further on that.
Well, what do you think of that? I mean, friends, this is big news. This is the United Kingdom. That this one member of Parliament got up there and called the Jehovah's Witnesses a cult. This is a country. We have countries now coming down on the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, us apostates, all of us have been trying to, for years, we've been trying to get the exposure. But what's better than this? What is better than this? Let's stop the streaming. What's better than this? I think that's the reason why I'm so happy this week. The battle is almost over. How long are the Jehovah's Witnesses going to be able to continue on? I mean, the world is now knowing what Jehovah's Witnesses are hiding behind. They have a very tarnished image. People realize that this organization is a sham. And now the world is going to know. And now legislation hasn't been passed yet, but it will be. And this man, he had so much courage. We really appreciate his efforts. Really, Sam Carling. That name is going to go down in history in the ex-witness world because Sam, he's still so young. He's going to make a big difference. And I will tell you what, the governing body, the Jehovah's Witness organization, they have got to be frightened from this. They're not going to take this standing up. I can just see it now at Bethel. Someone goes running into the governing body. Did you hear this fella in Parliament in the UK this week? Well, what did he say? He's calling us a cult. Holy mackerel. This. Well, this is going to be in newspapers. This will be it's all over the internet already. I know I'm coming in late. A number of other ex-witnesses have already talked about it, but we're here tonight. But I'd like to get your thoughts on it. Am I overrating this? Am I kind of running ahead with it, as they would say? What do you think? Do you think this is going to be a history-making moment in the world of the ex-witnesses? Is this one of the last vestiges of being able to survive? I mean, the Watchtower is going to be on They've got to be on life support. What do you think? Go ahead, call me up, tell me. I'd love to hear from you.
Hello?
Yes, you're on with us. Go ahead.
Yes, Thomas Hart from Lawrence, Kansas here.
Yes.
Yeah, this is good news. I'm really glad to see more and more countries really putting a hammer down on these bums. And I'm ready for them to come over here to the United States and start doing something about it, these governments here. I mean, I just want them to do the same thing here and all over the world, because they are really a menace to society. All the things they're doing to hurt people and cause death, and it's a death toll, you know, and so many families are all broken apart. A lot of divorces occur because of those policies. You know, imagine being married as a Jehovah's Witness couple right now, and you're both like, oh, it's just great to be a Jehovah's Witness. All of a sudden, one of them finds out that it's really wrong what they're doing, all the false teachings and how they're not really biblical, and they decide, I just can't take it. I've got a crisis of conscience. I want to get out. Oh, man, your marriage is a very high chance it's not going to survive. Very few marriages make it when one couple decides they no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness. They want to go to maybe another church or just quit altogether. There's very few that survive that.
Well, I know that would be music to your ears, Thomas. You're in the same camp I'm in. And, you know, you've been fighting for years as well as I have, trying to get traction, trying to be able to get attention on how evil the Watchtower is. And, you know, it's only within the last few years that countries are starting to come down on this evil organization. And that makes our hearts glad, doesn't it, Thomas?
It certainly does. I'm really hoping we'll see more activity here in the United States. I know there's a lot of things going on in our government here, but I hope those letters and, you know, all the activity in other countries will get their attention more and more and realize that they really are trampling on our human rights. They've been doing that for years and practically getting away with murder. I'm sick of it.
Well,
I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I know you're going to come to the convention. And when you come to this convention, Thomas, up here in Boston, you are going to be leaving. You won't want to go home. Well, we're going to have to.
Oh, I'm excited.
We're going to have to put you on a bus and put the seatbelt on and send you back to the airport because you're not going to want to go home.
Sounds good to me.
Right.
I'm even hoping, I mean, no big deal, but I wouldn't mind even doing a little something with that movie company. I mean, it's up to them, but it would be a really.
Well, you make sure that you see them when you're there because they're going to be interviewing anyone that has a thought, a story to tell. You go up and tell them. They'd love to talk to you. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you.
That's exciting, I'll tell you.
Yes. Well, thank you for calling in, Thomas. Always good to hear from you. You're an upbeat guy. And like I always say, don't you ever change. You're a good man. Thank you. All right. Let's take a look. Maverick from London. What do you think, man? Well, that's over in your neck of the woods. So what do you think of this young man? Yeah.
Well, I really think it's a significant moment because of the fact they both of the MPs used the term cult. They didn't say this religion, this organization. They referred very strongly, very confidently as a cult. And I don't think I've ever heard any government really, when they're discussing Jehovah's Witnesses up till now, out and out say cult, referring to them. And I'm thinking, this puts Watchtower in I was just thinking, I wonder how, obviously, the governing body are going to hear of this quite quickly, whether they've heard of it already. But what is the PR department going to do now in Watchtower? Because if they challenge the UK government and say, why are you calling it? We're not a cult. Or they start to try and make an issue out of the fact that they're referring to them as a cult, because obviously that's bad PR. They run the risk of now saying, well, to define the cult. Okay, so you're not a cult then. Explain how other people are calling you a cult. 2 members of parliament are calling the Jehovah's Witnesses organization a cult. And you're saying, no, you're not a cult. Prove it. Give me a definition of why you're not a cult. So they're really in a bad situation now, I think. But it's in terms of the law and the fact that for me, I was very high. I like yourself. It's not a passing thing. I think this is a milestone maybe in movements towards awareness, because how many, as you say, how many years you've been doing activism, Rick? We're trying to get these governments, as Norway's ahead of us as well in the UK, but we're all trying to get them to understand the culture of what goes on the inside, the layers of kind of deceptive wordplay and language manipulation to try and convince the outside people that it's just another religion, but really it's got manipulation going on a deep, deep level. And to have someone who's brought up in the culture, that's Sam Carling, is really significant, because he can actually say, no, I know exactly what when they say something now to try and defend themselves, I know what they're saying, and they don't mean this or that. So it's not something small. It's a very, very significant moment, I think, in awareness. And so when somebody now maybe comes in and sends a letter or something to this particular member of parliament, it's equivalent to a Congress member, I guess, in the state that you, or in the area that you are in the US. The people in his constituency are going to be able to go straight to him and say, yes, thank you for raising this awareness, and this complaint and that complaint. So I want to keep my eyes on this guy as well. I might even write to him actually myself and just thank him for highlighting the issue. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Well, thank you. Really, I really like what you say. And then I'm thinking, as you're talking, Maverick, the money the Watchtower could lose. Do you? I mean, I can't. I don't look at their books; they're very private. But can you imagine the amount of money they take in the UK with charitable reimbursement? Geez, I'm just gonna. I mean, I don't know, but I'm thinking it could be 10 to $50 million. I mean, really, that because they get paid over there. The government gives them money for charity. For each member they have, the more members they have, the more money the government gives them. But they got to be sweating bullets. They've already lost it in Norway.
Yeah.
And now if they're not going to give money to a cult, they're going to give it to a real church. And if there's a real spiritual condition or message this church has, they'll give them the money. But they're not going to give money to a cult. And then we have that man in Parliament calling it a cult. My goodness, this is. I mean, this is wonderful, Maverick, and you're living right there. You're living right there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And it's another interesting thing. I'll give you some information as well, Rick. Up until, I don't know if this is currently his position, but the elder that used to be very, very good friends with me, and it was in my congregation at the time. I don't think he's there anymore in my former congregation. He was the spokesperson for UK PR, the public responder to if there's journalism, if there's any journalists who interviewed what witnesses are about or at Bethel. He was a very close friend of mine. So I have his number, and I was disassociated for quite a few years now. But if he hears this program, he will recognize my voice instantly, because, people who know me recognize who I am. And one day I won't stay clandestine forever. I'll trust me. I will. I want to talk to you in private as well, Rick. I actually have given you I've sent you my contact details on a few emails. Maybe you've not seen them, but if you want to reach me privately and we can talk in more detail about other things another time, that'd be great. But I did send you this video, the video that you just showed on the video, because I thought on an email. Sorry.
Yeah, that's where I got it. I want to thank you.
All right. Okay.
I got it, and I also see your other message, and I haven't been able to get back to you on that because of the convention and all these people
fine,
calling.
Okay.
So I'll get to you when we can. But thanks.
No, that's okay. Yeah, no problem. As long as you got the thing, because I know you must get absolutely flooded with emails all over the place. It's easy to miss. But yeah, so this chap, this elder, he is the PR guy the PR representative of Watchtower UK. He's a Bethelite brother, Lovely guy, actually. Don't get me wrong. He was a nice guy, a good close friend of mine. He was in my group study for years. We used to work on the ministry regularly. He was a friend, not just a brother that was in my congregation. He was a close friend. And I'm really interested to see if he will be the one that actually explain or give a response. So I'm very closely going to look at this and see whether he's this former brother that I knew. Well, he's a brother still. My former friend, if he actually will be the one to respond to it for the UK Bethel or anybody in the UK. So I'll try and keep you posted. I'll keep you posted on that if anything comes my way.
Well, thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for sending me that too. That was a heads up, and I appreciate that. But I saw that. I said, "You got to be kidding me." Good job. Thank you. In fact, I want to thank everybody. I get a lot of news in here. Thank you all for sending me the news because it helps us a lot here on the news. Okay, so we got at 9. Let's see. That would be. I think it's Michigan. Who is this? Michigan. It's you, Mike. Yes.
Yeah, just a quick comment, Rick. I hope this is all right. I'm just going to say this real quick. You can anyone correct me if I'm wrong, but I looked it up, and this Sam Carling, from what I gather, he's a homosexual.
Wait a minute. Wait.
I find it funny that a homosexual is talking about child sex abuse. He's probably screwing boys himself. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Well, you said enough. I mean, I thought there'd be something. You can never say anything nice. You can never come on here and, be a regular person, an upbeat person. You always have to come on with some negative, cynical, critical something. I don't know why. Okay, let's go to Michigan. Let's go to 906 Michigan. You're on with us.
Yeah, Mr. Theron. How you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Yeah. Not too bad over here either, just taking it one day at a time. Yeah, I've listened to that story that's out of England with interest, and I'm happy that the government is looking into the Watchtower Society. I hope that information is not true that this other caller brought on about this Mr. Carling. But whatever, I hope the government looks into this Watchtower Society, and I hope they crack down. And those countries that are giving them money, I just hope they just defund them. That's what we need, and that'll do a lot of good even for the Watchtower over here. That'll help them even fall back a little further.
Well, thank you, Ken, for saying that because it's such good news. It's such good news to see this happening. It's and I think
Sorry, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just respond to what what's his name, Mike was saying about Sam Carling's sexuality allegedly?
Yeah,
it has no relevance to the law. Whoever highlighted this, their personal life has got nothing to do, unless they're behaving criminally. Their personal choices in their life is their own. This situation that he's highlighting as an MP is highlighting the loopholes and the flaws. There's more robust reporting of child sexual abuse, mandatory, and he's highlighting the fact that because of as we know, the internal way, the internal kind of policing of the Watchtower organization, as we know, Rick, we've talked about it all so many times, people are being hurt and things are not being reported. So, okay, even if he's, whatever his personal choices in life, that's his business, his MP. The fact that I'm supporting the fact that he is highlighting that there needs to be a change in the law to help protect innocent people from getting abused or manipulated or hurt. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, Maverick, you're so sensible. You're a sensible-minded man. And when you have someone call in, it's totally irrelevant what his sexual preference is. The man's making a difference. And the man would be my friend, making a difference. I don't have to jump in bed with the man, but he'd be my friend. He would be my friend in making a difference, exposing the Watchtower. So, this is irrelevant to be able to, and that's what Michael does. He does that a lot. Mike,
I looked it up on Wikipedia. That's what it said. He was the LGBT.
all right.
Can I speak up? This is Zachary.
Go ahead, Zachary. Yeah.
This child sex abuse, I was involved in one letter that had to be written on a brother. The brother had been, before I came to the congregation, I was still in Bethel and I visited this congregation. The brother was an elder. When I came to the congregation, he was no longer an elder or anything. He was sitting in the back of the hall with his family. He was still a witness. Then he got disfellowshipped. I was a ministerial servant at the time still. And in time I became an elder. Then 1997 or so came around and they wanted to find out about people who were accused of this. They wanted letters. So I was the presiding overseer of the congregation, but we had a split and he was no longer in that congregation. By this time, I was the presiding overseer. I was the one who had the unhappy assignment of writing the letter. So I insisted that I get the envelope that had all the disfellowshipping information on this brother so that I could write a letter. And I remember being in one frame of mind when I started. In fact, on a Wednesday night, I came home with the envelope and I thought, let me get a little bit of a head start. And I started reading it and I closed it up and said to myself, I don't need to read this. I don't want to sleep on this. So the next day I'm writing the letter. I'm in one frame of mind. I said, this happened with this person and then the next person. And by the time I got to the third or fourth person, I was talking like his next victim was. And my point that I'm making here, that I want to make, the 5 victims or so that this man had abused, they were all female. So this idea of a person being a homosexual and somehow they would be guilty of that, that's not the way it is. The 2 cases that the one I know about, the one I just told you I wrote about because I had the envelope and finally wrote the letter and put it in one of those blue envelopes. And if you have anything in a blue envelope about you, that means you're in trouble with the organization because that's the disfellowshipping envelope. Okay, my point, you got my point that I'm making. That case, and then there was another questionable case. And again, that was a brother and the victim was female. So I don't know why a person would make that point if people who engage in CSA, those are homosexuals. No, the one that I know about was a brother and his 5 victims or so were all female. That's all I have to say.
All right. Well, that ties in, Zach, and it has no bearing on what the man's sex is. The man is helping us.
Right. And I think you already touched on it. What an example he's setting, and the accomplishments he has that he would be so young and be a member of parliament.
Well, that's what really struck me. He's no dumbbell. Yeah.
Give the man a pat on the back.
Zach?
Yes.
You make a good point. And you know what Mike's done is called an ad hominem attack. Ad hominem attack, which means attack the person's character instead of the substance of their argument.
Exactly.
So you just divert the attention. Oh, he's got this, and this going on. So it must be, discredit his argument. It's got nothing to do with it, as you rightly said and as Rick said as well. Right. So it's called ad hominem. It's a very classic way that people do. They try and discredit the person to just subvert the attention away from the argument that they're making, which is valid.
Yes, true.
Yeah. Good point you made, So, yeah.
Well, you're on JW World News. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, hi, it's Donnie here. Rick, are you going to play any more of that footage of Sam Carlin, or can I read a bit of the transcript of what he carried on to say?
Yeah, go ahead, Donnie. Go ahead, read some of the transcript because we've got a lot of people listening in. They're really finding this really big news. So go ahead, read us some, Donnie. You're from England, right? So let the audience know you're from England. Yep.
Oh yeah, yeah. So I watched all of what he was saying, but I just found the transcript. So he goes on to say, I personally know at least one person who was sexually abused as a child in that organisation. When they went to speak to religious leaders about it, in the presence of their parents, not unsupervised, they were advised that going to the police would mean bringing reproach on God's name. So no report was made by either the victim or their family or by those religious elders. That is commonplace. That's what he said. They're just going to think they're a load of loonies, telling people it'll be a reproach on God's name, so don't tell the police. I mean, that's a really bad thing to do, isn't it? Yeah, and then, he went on to talk about other things as well, but that's the point of the bill. He wants this bill done where even concealing that that somebody's reported to you, I've been, abused or whatever, even concealing the fact, hopefully is going to be a criminal offence. So I thought that was really, really courageous of him.
So wasn't that something? So that must have really made you excited this week, Donnie, to hear that.
Yeah, and also later on he says that the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children, they're calling for the government to consider a broader offence of concealing child sexual abuse. It's also going to be offence. I think I said that as well. But so the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children are also getting involved with this bill. I don't know when they're going to vote for it, but that's what they're talking about at the moment.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us, Donnie. Well, that's good. We get a lot of people that they're finding this very, very fascinating. I did too. I mean, I'm really happy this week that I see that. Look, we've been trying for 20 years here, trying to expose the Watchtower. And when you get a government that comes out and calls the Jehovah's Witness a cult, man, he made my day. He made my day, I'll tell you. And they're going to lose a lot of money because of this. And you know something?
I think.
Go ahead, Donnie. Yep.
I think it might all snowball. Now that I've never heard of them mention Jehovah's Witnesses in the UK Parliament before. It could all snowball, I think. And the other gentleman that interrupted him for a little bit, he went on to say about, and they get shunned if they do go to the police and this, that and the other. So the shunning comes into it as well. And, and then if it all comes out about this shunning and, oh, no, don't go to the police, it's a reproach to Jehovah, they're just going to see this as a cult, and why are we giving them so much money, tax-free money every year as well. I think they're going to have a problem.
It's going to be a big problem. It's going to be a big problem because how is it really, sincerely, how is it that, I mean, let's face it, these guys aren't dumbbells, and the women too, in Parliament and even in Congress here in America, that they got there because they had to have some smarts, I would think. I mean, not maybe all of them, but for them to bring this up, this is very big. This isn't small talk. In fact, that one man, I forget what his name is in Parliament, after Jehovah's Witness friend got up there calling and spoke, that one man, he was quite adamant. I like his style. This guy was a pit bull. You're going to hear more about this. So I think we can wave the flags of victory. We won this battle. Donnie.
And also, he mentioned Sam Carling. He actually mentioned the Australian Royal Commission as well, the investigation into the Jehovah's Witnesses. So yeah, it was all very interesting today. So thank you very much, Rick.
Thank you, Donnie. Always good to hear from you, Donnie. Thank you very much for calling in. I have to tell you guys, I mean, I sit here every week. And, well, before I do that, do we have another caller? Go ahead, you're on with us. Is that you, Zach?
I just want to
Yeah.
say,
I was just going to say, I had been thinking about United Kingdom and how they've handled this with the Royal Commission, and now a member of Parliament is bringing it up. So they have experience in the legislative branch, and here in the United States, our experience we've seen is in the judicial branch, because we've seen Candace Conti, hers handled, I guess, as a civil case, I mean. So we're handling it, but different branches right now of government.
Yeah, in fact, it's funny you bring that up, Zach, because this has been an ongoing issue in America as well. And America is stopping short of really investigating the witnesses. And I have to tell you, I told the story many times here on the 6 Screens. Back in the year 2004, I believe it was, I went down and met with a state congressman, a federal congressman, I should say. His name was Peter Lynch, and he was in Boston. That's where the headquarters was, but he was a federal congressman, and he was very concerned with the religious position that many religions take on child abuse. So there was a Catholic group that was there as well, and I was there trying to suggest to the congressman all about the Jehovah's Witnesses and what they were doing. And he spent 3.5 hours with us, and we really gave him a mouthful. And what he did when I left there, the congressman said, "Now, Mr. Farron, I want you to, what you told me today is very thought-provoking. I want you to get some people together, get some summaries. And we want to hear this in Congress. And we'll bring it to Washington, get some people that can come and speak on how they've been treated in the Watchtower." So that really, I walked out of there 10 feet high, and I'm bouncing down the streets of Boston. And I'm so happy that, boy, we're going to get a listening ear. So I came back home and I wrote to different people. I had 2 people who were going to give us summaries. I told them the government's going to bring us to Washington. We're going to go in for a congressional hearing, and they're going to ask us questions about the organization. And we were all hyped up and excited. And so, I called the congressman back a month or so ago. "Well, we're still working on it," from what I can remember, he said. And I kept calling him back. "Well, when are we coming? Well, when are we going to Washington?" And they put the kibosh on it. This is what America does. But they got to stop this. They got to stop it. They got to start thinking in terms of, let's hear what these people have to say. But every time, this is what America does. When a witness comes up, they squash it. When Jehovah's Witnesses come up, they squash it. But I think those days are going. And I'm so proud of the UK that these guys spoke up and talked about it. It's a big week in history. A big week in history for us. Well, thank you, Zach. Yeah. You agree, I think. Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. No, thank you. All right. So that's Zachary. I'm Rick. I'm here at the 6 Screens. Man, I'll tell you what, we got so many things happening in the ex-witness world. It's really hard to keep track of this, but that was the big elephant in the room this week. Well, let me see what else we got. Let's see what else we got. Okay, so that was Sam Carling, and that was quite the stories. And I'm just thinking here some other things. I'm noticing that Anne Marie was on earlier, and she has a program here on the network. It's called Touched by the Tentacles of the Watchtower. And Anne Marie was on earlier, and she was talking about the different pressure that comes down on Jehovah's Witness men. And she was kind of even thinking that Jehovah's Witness men, brothers, they have more pressure put on them than even the sisters. So, we had a little bit of disagreement, because I think the sisters are treated badly too. I mean, I know the men are too. I wasn't really getting the gist of what Anne Marie was going to bring up, but I got it. And there was a number of people called into a program, even some elders, in fact, and they would say how difficult it was to even be an elder. But the reason why I bring this up, the pressure right now on Jehovah's Witness men is unbelievable. And it's unbelievable because right now they want these men to do almost the impossible. And I got thinking about it. If I was an elder today, how are you going to handle all of these people, especially now in the UK? They're going to hear this. It's going to be all over the news. I mean, it's probably, I'm surprised it wasn't the headline in the London newspaper. You know, Parliament calls Jehovah's Witness a cult. I'd love to see a headline like that. It's probably going to be if this keeps going on. But what I'm thinking, imagine the pressure on one of the Jehovah's Witness elders today, or any of them, and these people are going to come in and say, hey, they're calling us a cult. Everywhere I go door to door. I have the cart. People are coming up, cult. How are we going to handle this? This is going to reverberate throughout the whole world. This is why the pressure is going to be unbelievable. Do you imagine how many people are going to the elders and saying, what's going on with this organization? That's why there's so many elders. We talked about it the last couple of weeks here on JW World News. Elders are dropping off like flies. And if they're not dropping off, what they're doing is they're PMO. There is so many PMO elders that don't believe it. They're conducting the Watchtower study. I had 2 elders, information that was given to me last week at the 6 screens, 2 elders that they're just going through the motions. One is a Watchtower study conductor. And the information he gave me, hey, he says, what am I going to do? My wife's a witness. She's a strong, loyal witness. My child, he didn't mention boy or girl. My child is a witness. I can't tell them, so I have to keep conducting the Watchtower. I got to keep living 2 lives. Can you imagine the pressure on this man? And then another man wrote me too, and then he gave me the information on it, that he too has experienced the same thing. So the pressure has got. That's why there's so many elders. How many PMO elders do you think there are? There's more than you think. How many PMO circuit overseers do you think there are? You're going to say, you think there is some, Rick? I know there's some. There's no ands, there's no ifs or buts about it. So I find that very, very fascinating. Well, you're on JW World News. The Watchtower doesn't want us talking about, but we talk about it. And then another thing too, I got thinking about it. You know, I a few weeks back, like I told you folks, I was in a restaurant. It was a Popeye's chicken. You like Popeye's chicken? It's good chicken. I was out in Illinois. So my daughter and I were out doing some shopping. So we stopped in the Popeyes, and you heard the story before, but there was a family in there, and they were all dressed up. And so my daughter said, Dad, I think those are Jehovah's Witnesses. So, I didn't want to, be an apostate in their face, so to speak. So I turned around and said, hey, I said, you guys all look really nice. I said, you're all dressed up and you look really good. It was a family. Well, there was a mother, the father, and there was another couple of older sisters and some kids, I said, you guys really look good. So they said, well, I said, yeah, are you church people? I didn't want to say Jehovah's Witnesses, but I thought they were. So I said, you guys church people? And they said, yeah, we are. And we're Jehovah's Witnesses. And they didn't seem too excited about it. And then they went on their merry way in Romeoville, Illinois, which is right down the street from where I was. They were having the convention. But the reason why I even bring this up, they didn't have any badges on. They didn't try to push literature down my throat. They just got in the car and took off. Now, if that was me, or even you, 10 years ago, you would have been, here, I'm going to give you a magazine. Why don't you come to the convention? It's right down the street, sir. And I would have had a badge on. But are these guys embarrassed to do this? Are they getting people questioning them? Do they know if they bring up the name Jehovah's Witness in public that they're going to get chastised? That's a possibility. I really found that fascinating. And I'd like to have you guys, if you're in a convention center area, where a city where they're having a convention, I'd like to have you call in the next couple of weeks and let me know if you see any badges. let me know. Speak up like I said. Hey, you guys, you look good. You're all dressed up. See what they say. I'd be very, very curious. Well, in fact, we'll go to we got the game. We play a game here, Watchtower Trivia. We call it the duck game. And but it's got that name. It's stuck. We still don't have the duck come down yet, but we're in a new studio here. But we'll just call it the duck game anyways. But it's Watchtower Trivia. Now, what I'm going to do, let me just switch cameras here. I want you guys to win some prizes. You can win up to $100, okay? But even I've got something here that might even be worth more than $100. I've got some beautiful books that Nathan Natus, you know him. He's on JWN. It's a discussion board where many ex-witnesses get on to discuss things. And Nathan Natus is one of their top posters. Now, I'm going to just give me a chance here. I'm just going to change our video because I want you to see something. I'm going to go to another. I do have another camera setting here. So let's go to the other camera setting. And I'm going to explain these books because Nathan Natus, Jim Hill is his real name. He's a former Jehovah's Witness, and he lives out in Washington State. So what you're looking at right there, these books, they're printed by Lulu. Now, Jim is nice enough. He sends me these books, and he wants you to read them, and he wants me to give them to you. But I just want to give books out because if you do that, people don't look at them as valuable. So I came up with this duck game where you can win some of these books. Books like Millions Now Living Will Never Die. Now, that's not the original book, but it's verbatim. It's reprinted. The patent on these books, for the most part, in fact, all of them have gone out. Now, not on that Captives of Concepts you're seeing, but on the Watchtower. These are Watchtower publications where the patent has run out. I say copyright. It should be copyright, not patent. But it's run out, so you can have these reprinted. So Jim Hill does that on his own dime. He does this, and he gets them all printed up from Lulu. And you can win these books. If you get 5 points, you're going to be on the honor system. You get a point for each question you answer here tonight. And when you get 5 points, I want you to ask for one of these books. Look at that book. Now, that's Captives of Concept. That is an anti-witness book. That's Don Cameron. Then you have another one, Color and Character. That's actually a bunch of articles taken from the Golden Age magazine on how colors can affect your life. It's all pseudoscience, but the Watchtower seems to be proud of it. They don't talk about it today because they're embarrassed, but back then they did in the 1920s. And how about the Bible for the scientist? Well, that's all about Russell and the pyramid and how he measured the pyramid and he calculated the year. The Way to Paradise by Rutherford. What it was going to be like in the New World. And the Desolation of the Sanctuary. A Watchtower book that really you probably never knew existed. But we want to give you a book. As a matter of fact, tonight, if you do get the 5 points, I'm going to give you 2 books. I'm going to send you 2 books. So let's play the game. But I want you to just do me a favor. Don't answer the questions. In fact, we're not going to play the music tonight. We're not going to play the music tonight. We're going to let it go. I'm having some trouble here with one of my computers. But let me go back to my original camera here so you can see me. There I am. So anyways, well, why don't we get in there? Let's get into the trivia. I know you guys want to play it. Now, you keep score. Yeah, I'm not going to keep score for you, but let's go on the honor system. You answer the question, you'll get a point. Now, some people already have some points that have already accumulated. If you want to use those to get a prize, that's fine. The first person to get the 12 points, they win $100. We've already had 3 winners so far with this game. So let's do this. Let's, yes.
Rick, this time it's the second person to get the 12 points. Someone already has 12 points.
Well, that's true. Well, thank you, Zach, for being honest. You already have 12 points. Zach's our champion here so far. But let's get on. Let's ask a question. And what I'm going to do, because I'm not playing the music tonight, I'm going to ask the question, but nobody say a thing until I say go. When I say go, shoot out a number. The first, everyone take a random number. Some of you got the same numbers every week. That's okay. But pick a random number from 1 to 100. When I say go, what I want you to do is give me the number. I kind of hear it here because I have so many numbers coming through. It's hard to hear the first one. So let me at least work with me tonight. So don't answer until I say go. When I say go, the first one I hear, you get the answer first. So let's ask the first question here tonight. Let's scroll down. We got a bunch of them. So let's ask this here one tonight. All right. Here's the question. This is an easy one. I hope Nadine's listening tonight because I want Nadine. Nadine's a good girl. I want her to get some points. She's kind of sad because she's lagging behind. So can you name the brand of car that circuit overseers drive? Now, don't answer until I say go. Don't answer until I say go. Go.
7.
I'm going to go with 7. 7 was first. 7, what kind of car do the circuit overseers drive?
I'm going to say in the Midwest, because I got a feeling this is regional, but in the Midwest, it was always a Buick.
It's always a Buick. Nationwide, it's a Buick. Now, do you think the Watchtower, Stefan, was being really nice and really being so kind and wonderful, letting these guys drive a new Buick? Do you think there was any motive behind this?
Well, I'm sure they've got some kind of a deal with, with Buick, and they probably get the cars at a reduced amount. And I remember there was something, because I remember this brother, an older brother, and he was thrilled to death that he was able to buy a once used car. It was a Buick that a circuit overseer had. He was able to buy it from the society. So, knowing the society, you can't trust them any further than you can throw them, Rick. So there's definitely either they were getting money or they were somehow saving money and probably making more money by selling it used. So who knows?
Well, what we did find out, we did a little research on this, and of course, maybe most of you folks already know it, but the Watchtower actually had an automobile leasing company. So what they would do, so they would give the circuit overseers a new Buick, and that cost them money to do it. But here's how it worked. So they'd let the circuit overseers drive the cars for a couple of years, and then they would take the car back and they would sell it through their leasing company. And they had oodles of Jehovah's Witnesses ready to buy it. I mean, who wouldn't want to buy a circuit overseer car? Oh, this is my circuit overseer. I mean, it just had a certain, it had a certain feel to it. But the circuit overseer had this car. Must have some Holy Spirit left over, something.
That's exactly how this brother was. And the only reason why I knew it is the car wouldn't start at a building project. And somebody said, well, Stephen knows something about cars. Have him look at it. And I went and diagnosed it as a bad battery. And I put him in my car and we drove and bought a battery. And I installed a battery for him. And so he was telling me the whole story. But yeah, it was almost like it was built by Jehovah.
Yeah. But the thing was, go ahead, Zach.
No, I was going to just say, I do remember when there was a letter or something that came around and it talked about this leasing program that was being instituted. I think it was in the 90s that it started. And the corporation that it came under was not Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of New York. I think it came under Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Pennsylvania. But yet, I do remember the institution of that leasing program. Letters came around.
Yeah, they did. Now, see, here's what they did. Because this car had some residual Holy Spirit left over in it, that they got, what they did is they got top dollar for it. It wasn't like, selling the car through a regular car dealership. They had a ready-made market. The Jehovah's Witnesses were in line to buy it. And I mean, they bought it they bought it even at a higher price, and many just considered it like a contribution. Well, let's make sure the Watchtower makes money with it. So in essence, they were getting almost as much. Now, I'm not speaking for exactly telling the truth. They're going to get as much for the car as they bought it for. But there's people that were willing to pay more than the car was worth. Let me put it that way to you. So there you have it. So that's the Watchtower leasing. All right. So give yourself a point on that, Stefan. So let's go to the next question. So, all right, let's go to the next question. Here we go. Well, these are.
There's a person with a self-esteem problem.
Yeah. He's
got
do
for that.
Yeah.
The conference has been locked.
All right. No, you got to, well, in fact, they didn't come in all night, but here they come in tonight. Drunken Bethelites. Got a late start drinking tonight, I guess. But anyways, okay. So we all, when we were Jehovah's Witnesses, we went out in service and, that wasn't much fun, but we all look forward to the coffee break. Oh, we all look forward to the coffee break. And, yeah. Just give me 1 second here. So we all look forward to the coffee break. All of us know what that was all like. That's the only time we had fun. We could get together with the brothers and sisters. So here's the thing. Don't answer until I say go. Here's the answer. How much time were we allotted as Jehovah's Witnesses for a coffee break? In other words, how long can we sit in a coffee shop according to their policy? Don't answer till I say go. Now think about that. Now you guys, maybe I can remember we used to sit around sometimes for a good part of an hour, maybe 40 minutes. But they actually did stress how long a coffee break should be. Go.
1 time, 30 minutes.
I got one. I heard one.
You heard one?
Yeah.
Yes. I think it was 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
30 minutes.
Okay.
4,000 minutes.
No.
30 minutes is too long.
It was 10 minutes.
No, it was 20. It was 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Yeah, at least in my neck of the woods.
Okay.
At least.
Okay, I accept that as the correct answer, but I think, Rick, you probably told your group 20 minutes. That's not a regional thing. That might have been a Rick thing.
Well,
20 minutes and not a minute more.
Well, something I did tell the group that many times. I'd say, it's like 20 minutes. But I'll tell you what.
Oh, no.
But but the group I was in, I'll tell you what. It used to make me so nervous because really, I felt conscientious. Look, I was an honest Jehovah's Witness. I wanted to do things for Jehovah. And if it was 20, when we went over 20 minutes.
That's what we tell you. 10 to 15 minutes.
Yes.
You weren't allowed to have overlapping, you didn't have overlapping minutes in those days.
Oh, no overlapping minutes.
Overlapping coffee breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, what it was. No, but I used to feel so guilty. The group would go to Dunkin' Donuts, all right, or even McDonald's. We'd go to a nice little restaurant, and those guys would sit there for 40 minutes. And I was starting to really feel guilty that Jehovah doesn't like this. But these were even elders doing it. I'm saying, this is nuts, 40 minutes for a coffee break, that's too much. So, but the actual, in fact, I did look this up, and it is 20 minutes. If you do see, they did allow you 20 minutes. All right. So anyways, 20 minutes. So let's move on. Let's move on and see what else we got here. All right. Still on the subject here of coffee breaks. This is the question. Did the organization ever suggest that large numbers of witnesses should not meet at the same coffee shop? Now, you're probably thinking that's a weird question, but it actually was brought up in the service meeting. It actually was, from what I can remember, in the, our kingdom ministry. Remember that? Where we used to study that in the service meeting. And did they suggest this or not? If it was brought up, that's where it would have been brought up in. So did the organization ever suggest in the KM that large numbers of witnesses should not meet at the same coffee shop? Don't answer until I say go. Go.
Seven.
I heard two. I heard two.
I know you heard two. You heard two. Okay, so this is grow faith, and I would say yes, that is true.
That is true, grow faith. Grow faith. You hit that right on the head. That's I still owe you. I still owe you some books. I was going through, and I'll get back to this question in a second. But I was going through my email last night, and I saw that you won books. You never got them. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm gonna send. I just couldn't get to all my emails. But also, you wanted a ticket to the convention. I sent you one. I don't know if you can still come or not.
Okay.
But it's there if you can.
Okay, I'll check and see.
Here. I just now looked it up in artificial intelligence. And it says Jehovah's Witnesses are allowed to take a coffee break of 15 minutes during field service while still counting time. And that's the key. You could keep your time going. If it were longer like you did, you had to stop your time. It's just 15 minutes. I want a point or two.
That was AI. We need to go to the app.
That's right. I checked it. I was looking through all the witness stuff, and I thought it can't possibly be in here.
We can find it in the ministry where it
Find
ministry where it says the actual time.
Exactly, Stefan. Now, you said artificial intelligence. Now, there's nothing intelligent about Watchtower.
Well, I was in there. You were in there. We had intelligence, so we know. 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're in there.
Rick, I want my point.
Well, I'm gonna give you the.
That could have been something that changed. It could have been.
No, that's old. Please, they haven't changed that. They don't go in field service anymore. It's outdated.
I think
it's outdated. They don't need that 15-minute thing.
I could be incorrect too. The best thing we can do is to go back into the kingdom ministry to get the actual.
I agree with you. I was trying that after my answer was rejected. I tried that, but I couldn't find it fast enough. And I thought, let's see if artificial intelligence might have anything about this. I'm fascinated. It says 15 minutes in big, and then it says they're allowed to take a coffee break of 15 minutes during field service while still counting time. They usually choose a coffee shop that is as far as possible from where they're working. As traveled on.
How about we do a check on that? We do a check on that.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Sorry. How long does your Trivial Pursuit games last? Just out of interest.
Centuries.
Well, Zach, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for Zach. I'm going to give Zach a point because that here was 20, but then again, the Watchtower. They do certain things in different areas. Here it was 20, but wherever he got that artificial intelligence, so I'll give it to him. I'll give it to him 50.
Well, it's not about artificial intelligence. It's also what I remember. I think that 20 minutes was your thing. You were very nice to the friends, and you said 20 minutes.
All right. Well, let that one go.
I think I will agree with Rick. It could be based on the location that the time is different.
It was specific.
I will do my search
it's 10
on
to 15 minutes. You can do that, but it's 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do my check.
I was in there a long time, all my life. I was born in. I heard it from everywhere.
I'm going to make a suggestion. I'm going to make a suggestion that I have been thinking about for weeks. I would love for Rick and Zachary to work together on making the questions.
I got a couple for you.
And Zachary could be the person who listens in and decided who has answered first. And then that person, and then Zachary could say to Rick, I heard number 3 first, or I heard number 7 first. Does anybody else like that idea?
No, I'm too competitive. I'm too competitive. I want to.
Great idea.
No, I'm too competitive. I want to win jackpots and stuff.
I think it's a great idea. I think the both
We'll give you a jackpot.
together.
All right.
I'm joking.
I think that Zachary, with your New York experience, your Bethel experience, I think you'd have some great questions, and then you could help Rick, so Rick could just focus on the questions. You could be listening for who answered first and who gave the right answer, or they didn't give the right answer, and you guys could do it together. I think that'd be great.
This is Stefan. You're just trying to sideline me.
I am not. I'm really not. I'm telling you. I have been thinking this for weeks. I'm like, if those two work together, this would be even better.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what.
At least one person who agrees with me.
Well, we'll give
What he's doing.
We'll give a.
Yeah, I agree. No, she's trying to sideline me too. Unanimous. It's unanimous. You're just trying to sideline me. I'm not trying to sideline. I'm just saying you could make the show even better because you're going to have questions from your experience, and then you can help Rick moderate, and it would be even better. I'm telling you. Just try it.
All right, let's do this. Let's move to the let's move to the next question. Let's move to the next question, and it's a good idea, Stefan. We might do that in the future. But what we'll do is we'll try to be. The reason why sometimes we have mixtures of answers is because the Watchtower did that. They did that. They have different rules in different areas.
Rick, I just looked at the board, the chat, and somebody named Dehydrated Nurse says in Massachusetts they had 15 minutes.
Is that right? All right. Well,
Aren't you Massachusetts?
I'm in Mass. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to give you the point, Zach. So we'll give you the point. We'll give you the point. Let's move to the next question. Okay.
And Steve said this fellowship, that needs to be disfellowship. He's haughty. What am I supposed to do? Sit here and blow bubbles or something?
All right. Well, see if you should be able to get the next one. All right. Here's the next question. All right. What was the excuse the Watchtower organization used to stop serving food at circuit and district conventions? So what was the excuse the Watchtower used to stop serving food at circuit and district conventions?
It wasn't in the budget.
Now there we go. So don't answer till I say go. Think about it. Go.
One.
Seven budget. Seven.
All right, I gotta go, guy. I got.
Away from me, they're paying attention to the program.
Guys, you have to wait until Rick calls us somebody.
Yeah, no. What I'm going to ask though is don't keep repeating. Don't keep. In other words, just give it one answer, and then because I can hear that. But so just give the answer once. You don't. I mean, not the answer, but the number once, like 1, and leave it there. 2. All right. So that because it makes it so much easier for me. All right. So go. I think 1 was still in there. So, okay, let's go with 1. Zach, I know it's you. So go. What was the excuse?
I don't remember, but I think they said something about simplification.
I have to give that to you. In fact, that's the answer, simplification. Well, it said the food service brothers and sisters were working, preparing food, and they were unable to attend the sessions and partake of the spiritual food. That was the answer.
That's what I was gonna say. Right. Bunch of crap. Yeah, you're gonna be moved to moderator. No, Steve had enough of that. Had enough of this. That's wrong.
All right. So you got the.
Imagine Jesus, when he was feeding the 5,000, said, "We're not doing this anymore because they're not concentrating on my sermon that's about to come out."
Yeah, well, you could use that.
The little boy said, that little boy who was holding the basket of bread, he probably said, "Look, I want to put this basket down. I want some of the bread too."
Yes. All right, we'll go with that. So let's go to the next question. All right. When the bring your own food loving provision from Jehovah policy came into effect at circuit and district conventions, name one of the foods that were discouraged for consumption. In other words, remember we used to get food at the conventions and assemblies. They no longer did that. So you had to bring your own food. But they did suggest one food not to bring for consumption. We want you to tell me what food that was. Don't answer until I say go. Go.
1, 7.
Go ahead. Let's go with 1.
I don't really
Wait
know
a minute.
this, but I think I heard this from you. No, I said one real fast. Fried chicken?
Fried chicken and onion. Fried chicken and onions.
That's it. I swear to God, Zach, if you're gonna start moderating or else.
Is that right, Rick?
It was actually,
Yeah, right.
well, actually, they said don't bring fried chicken or onions. In other words, you know, if you bring a sub sandwich. I mean, I love onions. I don't know about you guys, but you like to, you know, you like to bring a sandwich with onions in it. They said don't bring them because I mean they really can stink out the auditorium, right? So no onions and no fried chicken for the grease. The grease is going to get all over everything. Yeah.
So Rick, there's no chance of me bringing a apostate pie.
Well, that's the worst kind of pie. All right. All right. So, anyways, take your point. In the late 1950s and early 60s, there was a publication called Paradise Lost, Paradise Paradise Gained, that is for children. What was its color? Don't answer until I say.
Oh, sorry.
No, not yet. Go.
One.
Go ahead. Zach, I'm gonna. You were first, Zach, but I'm gonna just for the sake of fairness.
You're cheating. I said it first. I didn't say the answer. I just said the number.
All right. What?
The same chance here. And then the name of the book is From Paradise Lost to Paradise Regained, and the color is peach.
Well, that's right, but I know you could call it peach. You could call it peach, but what would be
orange, peach?
All right. Okay, orange. We'll go with orange. All right. That's okay. Take a point. All right. What color were the original studies in the scriptures, the divine plan of the ages? What color were they originally? Go.
1.
I'll tell you guys, Zach is too quick on the draw. You guys, I don't know what you're doing. Well, you're letting him win here.
Number that you hear.
I have to go to first. Well,
I don't really know. I think it was like a burgundy color. 7.
Wine. Well, the watch.
Wine and burgundy are the same thing. In fact, burgundy is a wine.
All right, but here I'm going with what the Watchtower actually said it was. It's maroon. And I know it's.
Match together on the color wheel, Rick.
Well, I understand that.
It was pyramid brown.
Yeah. All right. No, it was.
Baby poop.
Yeah. All right. All right.
So, are you taking my point away, Rick?
Well. Actually, it was maroon. Watchtower referred to it as maroon. It was maroon. So I just have to go with what I got here. You can ask AI and see what AI says, but
no, I know that wasn't him. No, I know the sameness of maroon and burgundy.
All right.
I think the answer should be maroon. Somebody says I have fast internet. I'm on the phone, not using internet.
All right. Here's the next question. All right. What was the large Jehovah's Witness complex in Wallkill, New York, originally called? Go.
1, 7, 10. Alcatraz.
Okay, Alcatraz is good. I like that. Okay, so I got to go with Zach again. Go ahead, Zach.
Oh, okay, this is hard. I'm going to give a long answer. Yeah, the Watchtower Farm, Watchtower Bible School, Gilead. Watchtower Farm.
No, it wasn't Watchtower Farm. Seven. Go ahead. Seven.
Was it Fishkill?
No, it's near Fishkill, but it wasn't Fishkill.
One.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Zach.
Okay. The Watchtower Bible College of Gilead, South Lansing.
No. No. In fact, no. This is you came close, Zach, at first. You came close, Zach, before.
Watchtower Farm?
No, you came close. You came close with Watchtower Farms. I'll tell you what the answer. It was Kingdom Farms. Kingdom Farms. That was the original name. Yep.
Wait, let me say this. When I used to hear of a Watchtower Farm and a Kingdom Farm. The farm is bullshit.
Yeah.
Just go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So, all right, here we go. All right. So you guys are hanging in there. All right. Here's the last one for the night. Okay. Here it is. The Rutherford Rainbow. The Rutherford Rainbow. First of all, I'm going to ask the question. What was it when I say, what am I trying to identify as when I say Rutherford Rainbow? Go.
One.
Go ahead, Zach.
A series of books that was published under Rutherford being the president.
You got it. You got to take another point. I mean, you're racking them up here, Zach. But anyways, I want someone. Don't answer till I say go. Can someone name three of the books in the Rutherford Rainbow? Three of the books in the Rutherford Rainbow. Go.
Nope. One. 10.
I'm Zach. I'm going to have you play on the sidelines, but I still might give you the point because I think, to be honest with me, you know it. But we got a man on here. He's so let's go with 10. Was that you? 10. Go ahead.
10.
10. All right. What was it? What were name three books in the Rutherford Rainbow?
The Truth Book, Reasoning from the Scriptures, and the 8th book.
No, that's not these are books written by Rutherford. I'll tell you what. Who wants to name one? That's okay. Who won? You miss it. Is that you, Mark? I think you missed. All right. Don't worry. Don't have a panic attack. It's only a game. You're acting like my few. You're right.
Who's kidding me? No. So who's going to say it, Rick? I said one.
All right, you said one. So give me three books. Give me three books.
You said name one just now.
All right. Well, all right. Okay. Who said children?
One did.
Oh, okay, Zachary. All right. Now give me another one.
Crap.
No, it wasn't crap.
Me? Zachary?
Yeah, Zachary. No.
The youth book. No, your kingdom is the kingdom is at hand.
Your kingdom is at hand, right? Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
And wait, I'm looking at an old library trying. Armageddon.
Yep, that's one.
That's three. That's three altogether.
All right, that's good. You got them.
No. Bull crap.
No. Well, I have to tell you.
Going back to before I was born.
Yeah. All right. So.
And you don't know that.
So anyways, well, there was a number of them. Vindication was another one. There was a number of them. Yeah. So anyways, but you got it. All right. Well, listen. What we're gonna do? We're gonna wrap it up for the night. We're gonna wrap it up. Does anyone have any points they wanna send to me? I mean, if you get 12 points, you get $100.
Good job, Rick.
Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you. So anyways.
Good job, Rick. You did a great job tonight. Real excellent job tonight.
Well,
I liked it. Very excellent job tonight. You know your stuff. Very good, Rick. Very good.
All right. Well, thank you.
You've done a great job.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you.
Keep us all going.
Thank you. Your commission check will be in the mail. All right. So anyways, what I want to say is this. We got a program tomorrow. We do it Sunday. Tune in tomorrow, 1:00. We take on a different field. We get into the scriptures. We get into spirituality. Tomorrow we'll begin at 1:00 right here on the Six Screens Tele Network. So why don't you join us? And if you can make the convention, we would love to have you up here in Boston. It's looking real good. We're all looking forward to it. We're going to live stream it. So those like you, Mark, those that aren't going to be here, you'll be able to at least you can watch it, every bit of it, even during lunch period. We're going to have coverage. We're going to walk around. And so if you do a live, we're hoping to get upwards of 6 to 10 to maybe 15,000 people listening in on live stream. So it's going to be all live streamed. Yes. So we're looking forward to it. So, and there's going to be a motion picture film there as well. So by all means, if you can make it up to Boston, you will not regret it. You're going to be there, Mark?
I'm going to try to, because there's some people I want to meet. For sure. And I'd love to be there and of course meet you as well, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, people want to specifically meet in person and get to know a little better. I want them to get to know me a little better.
All right.
Not a lot better. But I'd love to be there and see everything and check out maybe your motion picture, your documentary, whatever you're going to be showing, or whatever movies you're showing. And the Thought Jehovah's Witnesses, that's great, because there's more and more documentaries, big time documentaries and movies coming out actually about Jehovah's Witnesses, so that's very impressive.
Well,
and it's clear, instead of message, how bad that cult really is, how bad and how evil that cult really, really is, and always has been. I just don't understand why they didn't do this back in the 1980s when they should have done it way back then.
This film is a film company from Spain. It's going to be English and it's going to be in Spanish. And they're making a really big deal out of this. They really are. It could be one of the better films made on the witness movement. So we're looking forward to that. I've been in touch with the producers, the director, and they got a whole story around it. So it looks really good. So I want to thank everyone.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you, Mark. So I want to thank everyone for coming into the 6 screens tonight. And friends, I don't want you to ever give in, up, or out. Our fight against the witnesses, we're winning. We're getting points on the scoreboard. We're winning battles. Let's hang in there and continue to let people know what's going on behind the Watchtower. And the last one, leaving the Watchtower, please turn off the new light. We'll see you tomorrow on 6 Screens Sunday. Thank you for being part of our program tonight and spending some time with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.